Hi guys, we're going to pick up with multiplying polynomials. So in this video, I'm going to do a monomial times a monomial and a monomial times a polynomial. In two other videos, I'm going to do a binomial times a binomial and then a binomial times a trinomial. Those will be two separate videos. So looking at number one, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and multiply these coefficients together first. So that's going to be -3 times 6, and that's going to give us -18. Let's put that right here. Then we want to deal with the variables. So I'm going to start with the x term, that's the next one here. So x to the fourth times x. So if I write that over here, x to the fourth times x. Now remember, when you're multiplying with powers, you add the exponents. There's a 1 here, so it's x to the 4 plus 1, which is x to the 5th. So I'll put that here. And then the last one, we have y to the 5th times y to the 3rd. And again, when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So that would give us y to the 8th. So this right here is the answer for number one. Now I know a lot of students are just going to go from here to the answer and not necessarily show all this work. I was just putting it out there for you so you can see where that's coming from. All right, so let's look at the second one here. So you can see we have this term in the front of the parentheses, which means we're going to have to use the distributive property. We have to multiply this 2x squared to every term that's inside the parentheses. So the first thing we'll deal with is the 2x squared times the 5x squared. So if I do that over here, I got 2x squared times 5x squared. So now this looks like problem number one, monomial times a monomial. So I'm going to multiply the numbers, the coefficients, that gives me 10. And then x squared times x squared, remember we add the exponents, so that's 10 to the 4th. So I'm going to put that here, so 10x to the 4th. So now the next part, we got 2x squared times 3x. So again, we multiply the numbers, so the 2 times the 3 gives us 6. And then x squared times x is x to the 3rd, because remember you add the exponents, there's a 1 there, so 2 plus 1 gives us 3. So that's plus 6x to the 3rd. And then the last multiplication, we have 2x squared times -7. And all we can really do is multiply those two numbers together. So that'll give us -14x squared. So this right here is the answer for number, see if that picks that up, for number 2. All right, so then let's go to the last one here and move this up. So the only difference between 3 and 2 is that we have 2 variables instead of 1. It's really the only difference here. So we have to go ahead and do the distributive property, and that'll give us our answer when we go ahead and simplify that. So we have 3x squared y times xy to the 4th. So we have 3 times, there's a 1 over here. It's just not written, so 3 times 1 is 3. X to the 2nd times x to the 1st is x to the 3rd. Remember, you add the exponents. Now there's a 1 here too in front of for the exponent for the y. So y to the 1st times y to the 4th is y to the 5th. So that would be my first term in my answer. Then I need to multiply 3x squared y times, and this is going to be -4x to the 5th y. So multiply our numbers here. So we got 3 times -4, which is -12. Then we have x squared times x to the 5th. So you add the exponents, so it's x to the 7th. And then we have, I'll just go ahead and highlight it. So y times y So y to the first times y to the first is y squared. So that gives us minus 12x to the 7th y squared. And then the last thing we need to multiply, we got 3x squared y times 2. So all we really need to do is just multiply the 3 times the 2, so that's 6x squared y. So plus 6x squared y. And then this is our final answer. All right, so in the next video, we'll multiply binomials times binomials.